The wind howled through the San Francisco fog, carrying the weight of secrets unspoken. Elliot Harper stood at the edge of his life, staring into the abyss of truth he'd buried for decades. Tonight, he would tell his son, Theo, who he really was and risk everything. Elliot, 38, was a man of quiet strength, his dark hair flecked with early gray, his hands calloused from years as a carpenter. He'd built a life in the Mission District, a vibrant, eclectic neighborhood where murals bloomed on every corner and the scent of fresh tortillas mingled with ocean air. His small apartment, cluttered with Theo's comic books and woodworking tools, was a sanctuary. But it was also a cage, locking in the truth he'd hidden since he was a teenager. He was gay. Theo, 11, was a whirlwind of curiosity and defiance, with his mother's hazel eyes and a mop of unruly curls. Since his parents' divorce 5 years ago, Theo had been Elliot's anchor, his reason to keep going. But now, as Elliot prepared to reveal his truth, fear gnawed at him. Would Theo still look at him with that fierce, unconditional love? Or would his words shatter the bond they'd forged? Elliot met Marcus Delgado, 37, 6 months ago at a local art gallery. Marcus, a painter with a warm laugh and a penchant for bold colors, had a way of seeing through Elliot's guarded walls. Their connection was electric, a slow burn that grew into stolen kisses and late-night conversations about dreams they'd both buried. Marcus, openly gay since his 20s, was patient but firm. He wouldn't stay in the shadows forever. "You deserve to live your truth, Elle," he'd said, his voice a soft anchor in the storm of Elliot's doubts. Tonight, Marcus waited at a pier a few miles away, giving Elliot space to talk to Theo alone. The weight of the moment pressed against Elliot's chest as he sat across from his son at their kitchen table. Theo was sketching a superhero, his pencil scratching furiously. The clock ticked too loudly. "Theo," Elliot began, his voice cracking, "I need to tell you something important." Theo didn't look up. "Is it about why you've been acting weird lately?" Elliot's heart stuttered. Kids were perceptive, too perceptive. He took a breath, the words he'd rehearsed 100 times tumbling out. "I've been keeping something from you. Not because I don't trust you, but because I was scared. I'm gay, Theo. I've known it for a long time, but I haven't been honest about it. Not with you, not with myself." The pencil stopped. Theo's eyes, sharp and unreadable, met his father's. The silence was a blade, slicing through Elliot's resolve. He braced for rejection, for anger, for the boy he loved more than life to turn away. "You're gay." Theo's voice was flat, not angry but distant. "Like you like guys? Like romantically?" Elliot nodded, his throat tight. "Yeah, I've been seeing someone. His name is Marcus. He's important to me." Theo's face twisted, not with disgust but with something Elliot couldn't place. "So you lied. All this time you were lying to me, to Mom, to everyone." The words hit like a punch. Elliot reached out, but Theo pulled back, his chair scraping against the floor. "I wasn't lying, Theo. I was figuring it out. I didn't want to hurt you." "Hurt me?" Theo's voice rose, sharp and raw. "You think this is about you liking guys? I don't care about that. I care that you didn't tell me. You're my dad, and you kept this huge thing from me like I'm some dumb kid who can't handle it." Elliot's world tilted. He'd prepared for rejection of his identity. Not this. Theo's anger wasn't about his father being gay. It was about trust. The boy stood, his small frame trembling, and stormed to his room, slamming the door. The sound echoed in Elliot's chest, a crack in the foundation of their bond. He sat there, frozen, until his phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "How'd it go?" Elliot's fingers hovered over the screen, but no words came. How could he explain that his son's words had broken him in a way he hadn't expected? The next morning, Elliot woke to a quiet apartment. Theo was already gone, off to school without a word. The silence was heavier than the fog outside. Elliot dragged himself to his workshop, a small space filled with the scent of sawdust and varnish. He tried to lose himself in carving a chair, but his hands shook. Theo's words replayed in his mind. "You lied." By noon, Marcus showed up, his presence a quiet bomb. "Talk to me," he said, leaning against a workbench, his sweater dusted with paint from his morning session. "I messed up," Elliot admitted, his voice raw. "He's not mad I'm gay. He's mad I kept it from him. I thought I was protecting him, but I just broke his trust." Marcus stepped closer, his hand resting on Elliot's arm. "He's 11. He's processing. Give him time. You're a good dad, El. He'll see that." Elliot wanted to believe him, but doubt clung like damp air. He'd spent years hiding, convincing himself it was for Theo's sake, for stability. Now the truth had unraveled everything. That evening, Elliot found Theo at the kitchen table, eating cereal for dinner. The boy didn't look up, but he didn't leave either. It was a start. "Can we talk?" Elliot asked softly. Theo shrugged, his spoon clinking against the bowl. "What's there to say? You didn't trust me." "I was scared," Elliot said, sitting across from him. "Not of you, but of losing you. I thought if I told you, you might see me differently." Theo's eyes flicked up, sharp and searching. "I don't care if you like guys, Dad, but you didn't give me a chance to show you I could handle it. You just decided for me." The truth stung, but it was clear. Elliot had underestimated his son, projecting his own fears onto a boy who'd always been braver than he realized. "I'm sorry," Elliot said, his voice breaking. "I should have trusted you. I'll do better." Theo didn't respond, but he didn't leave the table either. It was a fragile thread, but Elliot clung to it. He had to rebuild, not just for himself, but for the boy who deserved a father who lived his truth without fear. As night fell, Elliot stood on the balcony, staring at the city lights. Marcus joined him, their shoulders brushing. "You okay?" Marcus asked. "No," Elliot admitted, "but I will be. For Theo. For us." Marcus smiled, his hand finding Elliot's. The touch was a promise, a reminder that love, however messy, was worth fighting for. But the road ahead was uncertain, and Theo's words still echoed, a challenge to rebuild what had been broken. The days that followed were a tightrope walk. Elliot moved through his routine, carving wood, cooking dinner, driving Theo to soccer practice. But the air between them was thick with unspoken words. Theo wasn't cold, but he wasn't warm either, his usual chatter replaced by curt answers and long silences. Elliot tried to bridge the gap. He left notes in Theo's lunchbox, small apologies tucked between sandwiches. "I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I messed up." Theo never mentioned them, but Elliot noticed the notes weren't thrown away. They sat crumpled in Theo's backpack, a quiet sign of something unbroken. Marcus, ever patient, became a steady presence. He didn't push to meet Theo, sensing the boy needed time. Instead, he dropped by the workshop with coffee or text Elliot late at night, his words a lifeline. "You're doing the hard thing. That's what matters." But Elliot couldn't shake the fear that he'd damaged something irreparable. One Saturday, Elliot took Theo to Dolores Park, a sprawling green space where families picnicked and street musicians played. He hoped the open air might loosen the tension. Theo kicked a soccer ball, his movements sharp and deliberate, while Elliot watched from a bench, his heart heavy. A group of kids nearby laughed, their voices bright, and Elliot wondered if Theo longed for that ease, unburdened by his father's truth. "Want to join them?" Elliot called, gesturing to the kids. Theo shook his head, dribbling the ball closer. "I'm good." Elliot hesitated, then stood, grabbing another ball from his bag. "How about a one-on-one? Loser buys ice cream." Theo's lips twitched, not quite a smile but close. "You're gonna regret that." They played, the rhythm of the game loosening something in both of them. Theo was fast, his small frame dodging Elliot's attempts to steal the ball. For a moment it felt like before the confession, before the hurt. But when Theo scored and didn't cheer, the weight returned. As they sat on the grass, eating ice cream, Elliot tried again. "I know I hurt you, Theo. I want to fix it. Tell me what you need." Theo licked his cone, his eyes on the horizon. "I just want you to be real with me. No more secrets. I'm not a baby." Elliot nodded, the words settling deep. "No more secrets. I promise." That night, Elliot invited Marcus over for dinner, a tentative step toward blending their worlds. Marcus arrived with a canvas under his arm, a gift for Theo, a vibrant painting of a superhero soaring over San Francisco. Theo's eyes lit up, his fingers tracing the bold lines. "This is cool," he said, glancing at Marcus. It wasn't acceptance, but it was a start. Over pizza, Marcus told stories of his childhood in Oakland, his voice warm and easy. Theo listened, occasionally asking questions, his curiosity piercing the awkwardness. Elliot watched, a flicker of hope igniting. But when Marcus left, Theo's silence returned, a reminder that trust wasn't rebuilt in a single night. The next week brought a new challenge. Theo's school was hosting a family art night, and parents were expected to attend. Elliot dreaded it, imagining whispers from other parents, judgment in their eyes. He'd never been open about his sexuality in public, always deflecting questions about dating with vague answers. But Theo, in a moment of defiance, had told his teacher about Marcus. "Dad, you should bring him," Theo said one morning, his tone casual but pointed. "It's family night. He's part of it, right?" Elliot's heart raced. "You sure you're okay with that?" Theo shrugged, but his eyes were steady. "I'm not the one who's scared." The words cut, but they were true. Elliot had spent years hiding, letting fear dictate his life. Theo was calling him out, demanding authenticity. That night, Elliot texted Marcus, "Family art night. You in?" Marcus arrived at the school in a bright blue sweater, his smile nervous but warm. The gym was a chaos of paint and chatter, kids and parents crafting collages and sculptures. Theo dragged them to a table, handing them supplies. "We're making a cityscape," he declared, his voice firm. As they worked, Elliot felt eyes on them. A mother nearby whispered to her friend, her glance lingering. Elliot's stomach twisted, but Marcus squeezed his hand under the table, grounding him. Theo, oblivious or defiant, kept talking about their project, his hands covered in glue. When they finished, their cityscape was a mess of color and texture, a reflection of their messy, beautiful reality. Theo held it up proudly, and for the first time in weeks, he grinned at Elliot. "We did good, Dad." Elliot's throat tightened. "Yeah, buddy, we did." But as they left, a father from Theo's soccer team approached, his expression hard. "Didn't know you were like that," he said, his voice low. "Might want to keep it quiet around the kids." Elliot froze, his old fears surging. Before he could respond, Theo stepped forward, his small frame bristling. My dad's not hiding anything. And if you've got a problem, that's on you. The man blinked, taken aback, and walked away. Elliot stared at his son, pride and shame warring within him. Theo had defended him, but at what cost? Had he forced his son to fight a battle that wasn't his? That night, Elliot lay awake, Marcus beside him. "He's braver than me," Elliot whispered. "He shouldn't have to be." Marcus pulled him close. "He's learning from you. You're showing him what it means to be honest, even when it's hard." Elliot wanted to believe it, but the fear lingered. He'd opened a door, and there was no closing it now. The world was watching, and Theo was caught in the crossfire. The incident at art night lingered like a bruise. Elliot couldn't shake the image of Theo standing up to that father, his small voice fierce with loyalty. It was a moment of pride, but also a reminder of the world's cruelty. A world Elliot had shielded Theo from, until now. Life settled into a new rhythm. Marcus became a regular at their apartment, his laughter filling the spaces Theo's silence left behind. They cooked together, watched superhero movies, and slowly Theo began to open up. He'd ask Marcus about his paintings or tease Elliot about his terrible dance moves. But there were still moments when Theo withdrew, his eyes clouded with thoughts he didn't share. Elliot noticed other changes too. At soccer practice, a few parents kept their distance, their conversations stopping when he approached. Theo's best friend, Liam, stopped coming over, his mother citing scheduling conflicts. Elliot saw the hurt in Theo's eyes, though the boy never complained. The weight of his choice pressed heavier. Coming out wasn't just his burden. It was Theo's too. One evening, while Marcus was at his studio, Elliot found Theo in his room, staring at a photo of their old family. Elliot, Theo, and his ex-wife, Claire. "Do you miss her?" Theo asked, his voice small. Elliot sat beside him, the bed creaking. "Sometimes, but not the way you think. I miss the idea of us being a family for you. I wish I could have made it work." Theo traced the photo with his finger. "Did you know you were gay back then?" Elliot hesitated. "I think I did deep down, but I didn't want to face it. I thought if I tried hard enough, I could be what everyone expected." Theo looked up, his eyes searching. "Is that why you and Mom fought all the time?" Elliot's chest ached. He'd never told Theo the full truth about the divorce. How his repression had fueled arguments. How Claire had sensed something was off, but couldn't name it. "Yeah," he admitted. "I wasn't honest with her either. I hurt her, like I hurt you." Theo nodded, processing. "I don't want you to hide anymore, Dad. But it's hard. Kids at school are talking. They say stuff about you, about Marcus." Elliot's blood ran cold. "What kind of stuff?" Theo shrugged, but his jaw tightened. "Dumb stuff, like that you're weird now, that I'm gonna turn out like you." The words were a knife. Elliot pulled Theo into a hug, feeling the boy's resistance before he softened. "You don't have to fight those battles, Theo. I'll handle it." But Theo shook his head. "I can handle it. I just need you to be there." The next day, Elliot called Claire. They'd maintained a civil co-parenting relationship, but he hadn't told her about Marcus. Over coffee at a mission cafe, he laid it all bare. His truth, Theo's reaction, the whispers at school. Claire listened, her face unreadable. "I wish you'd told me sooner," she said finally. "Not for me, but for Theo. He's strong, but he's still a kid. He needs us to have his back." Elliot nodded, guilt heavy. "I'm trying, but I don't know how to protect him from this." Claire's eyes softened. "You can't protect him from everything. Just show him you're not ashamed. That's what he needs to see." Her words stuck with Elliot. That weekend, he took Theo and Marcus to the Castro, San Francisco's historic gay neighborhood. The streets were alive with rainbow flags and laughter, couples walking hand in hand. Theo's eyes widened, taking it all in. Marcus pointed out a mural of Harvey Milk, telling Theo about the activists' fight for equality. Theo listened, quiet but curious. At a small bookstore, Theo found a graphic novel about a queer superhero. He held it up, a shy smile breaking through. "Can we get this?" Elliot's heart swelled. "Of course." As they walked back to the car, Marcus slipped his hand into Elliot's. Theo glanced at them, then looked away, but there was no anger in his eyes, just a flicker of acceptance. It was small, but it was enough. But the peace was short-lived. At school, Theo got into a fight. A boy had called Elliot a slur, and Theo, fierce and impulsive, had shoved him. The principal called Elliot, her tone sympathetic but firm. "Theo's a good kid, but he's struggling. You need to address this." Elliot's stomach churned as he drove to pick Theo up. The boy sat in the principal's office, his lip bruised, his eyes defiant. "I'm not sorry," Theo said before Elliot could speak. "He deserved it." Elliot knelt in front of him. "You can't fight everyone who says something stupid. You'll get hurt." Theo's eyes blazed. "I don't care. They can't talk about you like that." Elliot's heart broke and mended in the same breath. Theo was fighting for him, but at a cost. That night, he and Marcus talked late, grappling with how to guide Theo through a world that wasn't always kind. "He's got your fire," Marcus said, a sad smile on his lips. "But we need to teach him how to channel it." Elliot nodded, resolve hardening. He couldn't change the world, but he could show Theo how to navigate it with courage and love. The road was long, but they'd walk it together. The fight at school was a wake-up call. Elliot knew he couldn't shield Theo from prejudice, but he could equip him to face it. He enrolled them in a family counseling session at a local LGBTQ+ center, a place Marcus recommended. The counselor, a kind woman named Lena, helped them navigate the tangle of emotions. Elliot's guilt, Theo's anger, and the love that bound them. In their first session, Theo admitted something that shook Elliot. "I was mad at you, Dad, but I was also mad at myself. I thought if I was cooler or something, you'd have told me sooner." Elliot's eyes burned. "Theo, this was never about you not being enough. It was about me being afraid. I'm so sorry I made you feel that way." Lena guided them through exercises to rebuild trust. They wrote letters to each other, sharing fears and hopes. Theo's letter was short but piercing. "I just want you to be happy, Dad, and I want to be enough for you." Elliot cried reading it, vowing to show Theo he was more than enough. Outside counseling, Elliot leaned on Marcus. They spent evenings at Marcus's studio, where Theo began experimenting with paint. The boys' creations were chaotic, all bold lines and bright colors, but Marcus praised his instinct. "You've got a spark, kid," he said, ruffling Theo's hair. Theo grinned, a rare flash of joy. But the world outside their bubble remained harsh. At a soccer game, another parent confronted Elliot, this time in front of Theo's team. "You're confusing the kids," the man said, his voice loud enough to draw stares. "This isn't the place for your lifestyle." Elliot's instinct was to shrink, to apologize, but Theo's eyes were on him, fierce and expectant. He straightened, his voice steady. "My life isn't your business. I'm here for my son, same as you." The man scoffed but backed off. Theo didn't say anything, but he bumped his shoulder against Elliot's as they walked away. A silent "I'm proud of you." It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. Elliot began to embrace his truth more openly. He and Marcus held hands in public, no longer flinching at stares. They attended a pride event in the Castro, Theo tagging along with a rainbow sticker on his cheek. The energy was electric. Music, laughter, and a sense of belonging Elliot had never known. Theo danced with a group of kids, his laughter ringing out. For the first time, Elliot felt like he was living, not just surviving. But challenges persisted. Claire called one night, her voice tense. Theo's been asking to live with me full-time. He says it's easier at my place. No one's talking about you there. Elliot's heart sank. Is that what he wants? Claire sighed. He's confused, Elliot. He loves you, but he's tired of the drama at school. He needs stability. The words were a gut punch. Elliot had fought to be honest, to build a life with Marcus. But was it pushing Theo away? He thanked Claire and hung up, his mind racing. Marcus found him on the balcony, staring at the city lights. He wants to live with his mom, Elliot said, his voice hollow. I'm losing him. Marcus wrapped an arm around him. You're not losing him. He's figuring out where he fits. Keep showing up for him, Elle. That's what he needs. The next day, Elliot sat Theo down. Your mom told me you want to live with her. Is that true? Theo fidgeted, his eyes on the floor. It's just easier there. No one's whispering about you. I don't have to explain anything. Elliot's chest tightened, but he kept his voice steady. I get it. And if that's what you need, I'll support it. But I want you to know I'm here, always, no matter where you live. Theo's eyes welled up. I don't want to leave you, Dad. I just want things to be normal again. Normal's overrated, Elliot said, forcing a smile. But we'll figure out our normal, okay? Together. Theo nodded, leaning into Elliot's side. It wasn't a solution, but it was a promise. Elliot held him close, determined to keep fighting for Theo, for Marcus, for the family they were building, one messy step at a time. As summer approached, Elliot planned a trip to the redwoods, just the three of them. He hoped the towering trees and quiet trails would give them space to heal. Marcus packed a picnic, Theo brought his sketchbook, and for a weekend, they were just a family. No whispers, no judgments. Theo laughed as Marcus chased him through the forest, and Elliot felt a flicker of peace. But back in the city, reality waited. Theo's school sent a letter about a parent-teacher conference, hinting at ongoing behavioral concerns. Elliot knew it was about the fight, about the whispers. He'd have to face the school, the parents, the world. But this time he wasn't alone. Marcus would be there, and Theo was watching, learning what it meant to stand tall. The parent-teacher conference was a battleground. Elliot sat across from Theo's teacher, Ms. Rivera, her expression a mix of sympathy and concern. Marcus sat beside him, a quiet pillar of strength, while Theo waited outside. Theo's a bright kid, Ms. Rivera said, but he's been distracted. The fight, the rumors, it's affecting him. Elliot's jaw tightened. What are we supposed to do? He's defending me. Should I tell him to just take it? Ms. Rivera leaned forward. No, but we need to create a space where he feels safe. I've spoken to the other parents, and most are supportive. We're addressing the bullying. Elliot nodded, grateful but wary. He'd learned trust came slowly. After the meeting, he and Marcus took Theo for ice cream, a small ritual to soften the day's edges. Theo was quiet, but when Marcus cracked a joke about his terrible aim in soccer, the boy laughed, a sound that felt like sunlight. Over the next weeks, Elliot worked to rebuild. He volunteered at Theo's school, helping with the art program, showing the other parents he wasn't hiding. Marcus joined him, charming everyone with his easy smile and quick sketches for the kids. Slowly, the whispers faded. Theo's friend Liam started coming over again, his mother offering a sheepish apology. One evening, Theo brought home a project, a family tree for history class. He'd drawn Elliot and Marcus side by side, their names linked by a heart. Below, he'd written, "My family. They're awesome." Elliot's eyes stung as he hugged Theo, the boy's arms tight around him. "You're not mad anymore?" Elliot asked, his voice soft. Theo shook his head. "I was never mad about you being you. I just needed to know you trusted me." The words healed something deep in Elliot. He'd spent years fearing rejection, but Theo's love was fiercer than any judgment. Marcus, watching from the kitchen, smiled, his eyes warm with pride. The turning point came at the school's end-of-year talent show. Theo had been practicing a song on his guitar, a secret he'd kept even from Elliot. When he took the stage, his small frame dwarfed by the spotlight, Elliot held his breath. Theo's voice was clear, singing about finding home in the people you love, not the places you live. The crowd was silent, then erupted in applause. Elliot and Marcus stood, cheering, their hands clasped. After the show, Theo ran to them, his face flushed. "Did I do okay?" "You were incredible," Elliot said, pulling him close. Marcus ruffled his hair, and for a moment, they were a unit unbreakable. The summer stretched ahead, full of promise. Elliot, Marcus, and Theo spent weekends exploring the city. Museums, beaches, the pier where Elliot and Marcus had first admitted their feelings. Theo sketched everything, his notebook filling with their story. One drawing stood out, the three of them under a rainbow flag smiling. Theo had written beneath it, "Our normal." On the last day of summer, Elliot took Theo to the pier. Marcus was there, waiting with a picnic. As they ate, Theo looked at his dad, his eyes serious. "I'm proud of you, Dad, for being real." Elliot's throat tightened. "I'm proud of you, too, for being braver than me." Theo grinned, then ran to the water's edge, chasing seagulls. Marcus slipped his hand into Elliot's, their fingers intertwining. The sunset painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, a canvas of hope. Elliot had come out to his son, expecting rejection but finding a deeper bond. Theo's words had broken him, not with cruelty but with a demand for honesty. Together, they'd rebuilt something stronger, a family defined not by perfection, but by love, courage, and truth. As the waves crashed, Elliot knew they'd face more challenges, but they'd face them together, unashamed and whole.